What's happening, guys? This is Adi from Thedos International, and I'm here to chat with you all about the disappointing draw last night. Olympiacos drew 0-0 in its final match of the regular season against IL. Lot to talk about, a lot of complaining about what we saw yesterday, and a lot of nuance to discuss here as we go into the match and as we discuss what happened here. So, first, let's get started. First and foremost, guys, for those of you who are listening to this, don't forget to like and subscribe if you don't already. Every like helps us find more red and white fans. It helps us boost us in the algorithm, and it helps us continue to grow this amazing red and white community. You can also support us on Patreon for those of you that are here and love the content that you get from us. We offer extra content for our patrons plus the WhatsApp group. Check it out at patreon.com/Thedos7 International. Thank you so much to our wonderful patrons and to our newest patron, Nikos Adriopoulos. Thank you so much for joining the community. You can join the community as well and get in on the action. Last but not least, before we get into the normal content for today, don't forget to check out PureVPN for your web browsing needs. If you are outside the US and you are looking to watch your games, you want to watch them securely, even if you're in Greece and you want methods to watch your matches in a secure fashion without the risk of somebody coming and attacking you via your private connection, check out PureVPN for stable and secure connections and for connections that will help you watch the content you want to watch, even if you are outside your home country. PureVPN, the barcode is in the top left corner. Check it out and watch Olympiacos no matter where you are. So let's talk about this match yesterday. 0-0. Difficult, not what we wanted, especially after getting the win against Ofi last weekend. You come in against a Larissa that is one of the worst defenses in the league, a mediocre at best offense as well. You knew you were getting the low block. We knew it was coming. And that's what they did. They barely crossed half field. I think let me see. I can tell you what the stats say in terms of their final third possessions, but I think they maybe had about a dozen touches in our final third. Maybe. So this is what it was going to be. It was all going to be about us trying to break into their penalty area. And in a manner of speaking, we did. Look, 35 shots based on what we see here from Flash Score. 35 shots. Only 7 on frame. 2.6 XG. Guys, I've been very vocal about what I believe Mendilibar has done wrong. But when you look at figures like this, there's only so much blame I can throw at the guy. Now, of course, I still have my quips about what he did and some of the decisions he made, especially regarding certain players like Yusuf Yazici, Andre Luiz, bringing Clayton. But you look at a game like this, and then you see that the sheer amount of opportunities that we created. And my first thoughts are going to the players. Like I said, I will get into Mendilibar. I will get into the issues I had with some of his selections. But regardless of his selections, when I see the number of opportunities we had like this, the number of shots we wasted, the number of big scoring chances that we had, the players have to do better. Now, part of this also can be, are we actually working on some of this in training? 58 crosses we had yesterday. 54, depending on what platform you're looking at. Over 50 crosses is we'll say over 50 crosses is what's the same, right? Whether it's 54, 58, over 50. If crosses are going to continue to be your primary method of attack, I hope to God that we are working on those in training, because right now, the way we finish them and the way we have finished for most of the season, it feels the same as it did for a lot of last season where can't finish, can't. And I know some of you are going to say, well, when you get across the probability you score off a cross, the quality of the opportunity is less. So therefore, you're less likely to score. And you're right. That is the case in if we're talking generally. But even if none of the chances we had yesterday out of the 35 shots that we had, even if not a single one of those was a big scoring chance, this team still had, all things held equal, over a 90% chance of scoring a single goal, and we couldn't. And that's if none of those registered as a big scoring chance. That was the probability. This is happening so much more frequently with Olympiacos than it does for any other team in the Super League. We create so many opportunities, and yet we cannot score. At the time of recording, the stats haven't been updated in Y Scout, but if what Flash Score has is similar to what Y Scout has, our underperformance in terms of goals relative to XG is going to be almost 11. Olympiacos in the regular season in Greece has left 11 goals on the table. 11 or almost 11 will depend on what the XG figure is. Guys, that's not good. And our XGOT is right up there where our goal scored is. So part of, if not the biggest part of this, is going to be that we're missing these chances. Now, like I said, I can go back to the tactics. I can go back to certain things and point, hey, I think this should have happened. I think this should have happened. But when you have this many opportunities, it's hard for me to shove so much of the blame on Mendilibar. Now, as we're talking about the match and we're talking about Mendilibar, he also made some statements today. He made some statements at the end of the game stating that we, as a collective, and I'm going to preface that for a reason I'll get into, we did not plan the club or plan the squad properly. So when he says that, he's including himself in this. He talked about the fact that he has to leave out 2 players because there's 7 foreigners. He has to leave out 2 players every week, and he hates doing that. He doesn't like telling a player that they have to be left out for this reason. And he said, we, as a club, got something wrong in the planning. Some people took that as a shot against the board. People extrapolated different things from this. But for me, the fact of the matter is, he used the collective specifically. He could have just said the squad planning went wrong, not included that. And then that's a shot at the board. But he included himself in there, which means he has taken some of the responsibility for this. Now, before I go further into this, I have a small guest here, one of our patrons from the Patreon community. This is Stefano. I believe he's coming in with audio only here to chat with us a little bit about what's going on. Stefano, how are you doing, buddy?
Hey, how are you?
It is, listen, it's a sombering
Terrible day.
for me. Yeah, don't feel too great about this. Uh, Began talking about the game, brought you in as I addressed the comments about Mendilibar, and we talk a little bit about Mendilibar because this morning when I woke up, I was looking at what I missed on social media and the WhatsApp chat. And honestly, people are all over the place. There's a lot more people that are very critical about Mendilibar yesterday, which I find to be a little bit hilarious. But anyway, that's a different story. But there's a lot of stuff all over the place. And before I go into a little bit more about that, I just wanted to get your thoughts, first of all, on the game yesterday, because you were at the stadium, correct?
Right, right.
You were there. And for those who aren't aware, Stefano is a season ticket holder. He goes to every single game. So he's there. He's a great resource to really see and understand what's going on in the stadium, how the feeling is in the stadium. and he's there all the time. So Stefano, tell us how you felt in the stadium seeing 35 shots. We can't get anything on target, and
Yeah.
just it didn't feel like we'd
I
score
mean,
in 300
yeah,
minutes.
pure frustration. I think the reason you're seeing a lot of people take it out on Mendy last night is because it's been the same in the previous games, right? This play style is holding us back, I guess. It's why we've been unsuccessful so far, right? And people just expect that to happen again. I think yesterday, yes, we created probably more than in previous games.
Yes.
What was it? According to Opta, it's what, 2.6 x
Flash
goals?
score has 2.6. That I
Flash
have.
score, yes.
Mhm.
There you go. So, yeah, I mean, and from the stadium, it's a bit hard to gauge exactly how big the chances were. I mean, you kind of get a feeling, but it's not always obvious. At the same time, this is a recurring theme. So it's either on the players or it's on Mendy or both. And probably it's a bit of both now that I think about it, right? Because possibly our lack of efficiency is also due to the extreme rate that, attacking players need to put in. By the time,
Under the system.
Zelson gets, yeah. So by the time you get to the to the opponent area, and we were there the whole time. But anyway, the players are exhausted and they just, can't shoot or can't do what they would normally do. So I think that's part of it. People are also frustrated with specific players. So I think Podence last night was not terrible, right? I think that's the feeling I
Okay.
got from the. At the same time, there were moments when he just all he had to do is pass next to him. That's all. And he didn't. So people get upset with that. Yeah, I think it's patience is running out um, for sure for certain players. We know this, but also for Mendy, right? This cannot go on.
Yep. Yep. And a big thing about yesterday too. So we had six big scoring chances, six clear scoring chances, I'll say, right?
Yeah,
One of them came in the first half. Five of them came in the second half. Most of them came after
yeah,
the 65th minute.
yes,
And there's a big reason for that. Last week, we talked about how the approach was a little bit different. We actually drove the ball up the middle. Mendilibar was encouraging the players to drive the ball up the middle. We didn't do that in the first half against Larissa. Yesterday, it was cross, 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 cross. But then in the second half, even though we had virtually the same number of total opportunities, it was 17 shots in the first half, 18 in the second half, we had more big scoring chances, more clear opportunities, and we were driving the ball up the middle more. And this has been a constant
mm,
pet peeve, I'd say, of the Olympiacos community. The fact that
yeah,
we don't drive the ball up the middle. We wait so long to do it. The more creative players that we have at our disposal currently, on paper, we can say, don't get a lot of time. Guys like Yusuf Yazici, Andre Luiz is a big talking point as well, and yet these guys aren't used in a similar fashion. Mendilibar has chosen recently to bring on Diogo Nascimento as a wing, which is something that has annoyed the crap out of people. So you see this in the second half. Had I do believe that if we had played like we did in the second half, in the first half as well, we probably score. We're creating better chances
right.
here. But the fact of the matter is, this team is allergic to playing through the middle. And it's so frustrating because Greece has adapted around us, right? We can say that since Mendy has arrived, everybody now approaches us the same way, even the big
Yeah,
four teams.
yeah,
PAOK played
yeah,
us more open last year. Panathinaikos played
right.
us more open. AEK played us more open. Well, they had a
Yeah.
different coach, but that's besides the point. Everybody now plays us behind the ball. They know the drill. Play with your
No,
big
even
center
Ike did
back,
it.
and
Even
that's it.
yeah, even when we beat them, they were sitting back, right? The
Yeah.
2-0. Okay, yeah, okay, we managed to do it, but they were being careful because they knew they'd probably eat 5 or 6 goals if they came forward. I mean, you can see this change even with a different coach. Now, this thing you say about the crossing, so it's the number one thing you hear in the stadium, but all around me, every time the ball went to the side. moans, right? Always, always. Having said that, and I would like, when you analyze them, or if you analyze this match later on with your data, I'd like to see what percentage was attacks from the from the sides and from the middle, because my feeling in the game was that there was an attempt to not always pass it to the side compared to previous games. Is all I'm going to say. Not that we were playing up the middle, right? But there were several occasions where you could clearly see, especially Musa, like ignoring the pass to the right or to the left and trying to go through the middle. Of course, to be honest, when Larissa was playing five in the back or something like that, then three in the middle and basically everybody behind the ball, and never, almost never approached our area. Right? I think it's almost impossible to avoid the crosses. They will happen. It's just that I got the feeling that we are trying to change the play style, especially, okay, it happened with Alfie. That was clear, right? And I think they tried to do it yesterday. It's just that Larissa was, two parked buses, basically. I'm not sure. I would like to see the numbers. I can't really substantiate this.
Yeah. When Wisecout populates, I for sure will
Perfect.
have
That
that.
would be
We'll have
interesting
that
because,
up.
okay.
Because
I mean,
last week we
uh,
did have like above. So our average this season, when it comes to attacks up the middle, and I'm talking about, we're removing the big four from it because it's a lot different against them than it is against the low block. But against the low block, less than 20% of our attacks in open play go up the middle. And that's
okay.
among the lowest we've had in let's say the last 5 years, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Especially even under Martins, and Martins was considered to be a cross
Mm.
heavy coach too. But you look at like last year, I think we ended the season with just under 800 crosses in totality. It was like 750 for the season, which was the highest for Olympiacos for a full season, including playoffs. After last night's match, Olympiacos, before playoffs begin, will have 790 crosses
Mm.
this season. That's the highest ever, at least that I can measure for. But the big thing here is, until we'll say last week and now, over 75% of our open play attacks go through the wings, go through the
Mm.
sides when we enter the final third. And even though maybe yesterday it didn't, even though I'll say this, even though yesterday we made enough chances that it doesn't matter, we can say, but the fact that we have not adjusted tactically on offense at all, I think is a part of this frustration. And I got a lot of comments and DMs this morning, by the way, about we don't have this is what the complaints were. We don't have a player that can actually deliver a good cross. We don't have a player that can deliver a set piece. We don't have
Yeah,
players that
VJ.
can play the balls between the lines. And your answer to those first two questions is sitting on the bench, Yusuf
Yeah.
Yazidze. He's
Jesus.
not used.
As soon as he got in, you saw the quality of the passing and the crosses.
His first
Yeah.
cross was better than any
Perfect.
delivery we had until that
That's
point.
what everybody around me said when that happened. That's exactly the comment. And they were asking for him to come in. Even
Yeah.
like just before, they were like, oh, just put him in. But you know what? You said you talked about how we actually created enough chances yesterday, but maybe it's just down to volume, because again, yesterday we were on the attack the whole time. I mean, if you look at the match momentum from whatever fought Mob or whatever, it's Olympiacos all the way.
Yeah.
They couldn't string two passes together, right? So of course we're going to have chances eventually, even with the wrong way of playing, right? I mean, and maybe one last frustration I want to get out of my system. So I kind of knew Andre Luis was not going to be selected, but I thought it was going to be because we were going to play two strikers up front.
Right.
When you start with only Taremi, then why the hell are you picking Clayton, right?
That this is
Nothing against the guy. Nothing against the
yeah.
guy. I feel bad for him, but well, I mean, it's just come on. Andre Luis has something we were missing yesterday again, right? I mean, you can't play Diogo on the wings. You can't.
No.
Makes no sense to me. And that goes back to the planning, which even Mendy said, but he's also at fault for that, right? It's not, you know, he's not absolved because he said no to everybody, and then the only thing we signed was these two guys from the Ave, right?
Right, exactly, and one of them he didn't even want, right? He
Exactly.
didn't even want
Well,
he
one of
didn't
them
want play.
nobody wanted, but yeah, okay, it's a
Yeah,
different
and
story.
that's part of it, right? So, he and yet and then the funny thing is, like, I listened to the quote. I had read the quote and I listened to what he said, not just what Marina translated.
Yeah,
And
it's nice.
I think he's not stupid, right? Mendilibar's we can say he's pretty careful with his words, right? He says what he feels. He has a strong personality and he says what he means, but he includes himself in there. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
we have said all season that he's been a part of the vast majority of the transfer policy, right? He may not have gotten
yeah.
his first choices, but he was involved in the options that were selected later on. We
Right.
all agreed that maybe we did too many projects this summer, Scipione, Diogo, so on and so forth. But the fact of the matter is, we seem to have this. It's I don't know what the word. Maybe dilemma is the right word for it. Where we want quality, right? We want players to come in that can dribble against defenders, players that can come in and that are willing and to take the risk and take shots, cut inside. But then on the other hand, we have a play style that doesn't always afford that. And when you
Mm.
bring a player in like Andre Luiz, who this is his modus operandi, the guy this season at Rio Ave, all he did was get the ball, cut inside, and score goals against
Yeah,
one, two, three defenders. And we don't use him or allow him to do
yeah,
that.
yeah. And
Something
not giving
has
him
to
time to
give.
adjust either, right? I mean,
Right.
even if he, whatever doesn't gel immediately, come on, he needs games. He's gonna get games now in the playoffs. It's not gonna, if it doesn't
Yeah.
work out, then what? You burn the player? I mean, no. He should have been playing versus Elfi or whatever, right? Or Ladis, or I don't know. Get some games, and then let's see what he can do.
Right, and I think we can
That
say that for a lot of
yeah,
players too. Well,
sure,
there's quite a few players that don't get a consistent string. You know what I
of
mean?
course, yeah, 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 yeah,
And yet we want to throw everybody to the curb, and then all
yes,
of a sudden, looking just at the wing position. You know what I mean? What
yeah.
player has come as a winger under Mendilibar and improved at the very least in the final third? The only one that did that I can think of was Daniel Podence.
Mm.
Now, Fortunis, of course,
Uh,
different story. He did everything else behind the ball. So that to me was more important than him having better goal contributions, we'll say.
right,
But
right, right.
I can't think of a single winger we got that then improved under Mendilibar. Gelson Martins might be last season
Yeah,
another exception because he actually was
yeah,
our second top goal contributor. But then this season, he kind of defaulted to factory settings.
yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. That's the thing. That's the other thing about Mendy that worries me a lot is the usage of some players. And what I'm worried about is that we will lose Kalogeropoulos in the summer
Yeah,
because he's
that's
not
for
playing,
sure.
right. And again, I don't see the logic in that because we need homegrown guys. The guy can do it. I don't know. From what I've seen, he's fine. I understand he's not as comfortable as Retsos and Biancon on the ball, but whatever. Adjust. I don't know.
He has improved though compared to what we've seen
Yeah,
in the past. He
sure.
looks
No,
better
no,
this
but
season
yeah.
overall.
And anyway, you're gonna need this guy. You're gonna need
Yeah.
him eventually. And you're gonna let him go or what? What's gonna happen there? Because again, I'm really frustrated that our academy products are not getting games. Even if they're, judged not to be at the highest level, I honestly don't care. Martial did a segment on this a while back, right, on his Martial Mondays thing. Just use them. Use them. I don't know.
Yeah.
With Carlo, I think it's a waste. It's a real shame. I hope we don't sacrifice him just to keep the manager happy for now. You know what I mean? Like how it happened with Martins in his last season, where he was renewed. Um, the team went to wherever it went at that point. It went to shit, and you know, for what? So we can win that one league, so that Martins can be happy. And then he got fired.
Right.
So I don't know. Uh, again, I'm not. I want to end with a bit of a silver lining, right? One bad season is one bad season, right?
Right.
Um, what I was encouraged from last night was Musa, because he seems to have a brain. Like he
He
was,
does.
again, he was trying to, like he was shooting at some point. Remember this thing where you know, we were frustrated that nobody's attempting shots from outside. He tried to dribble in, you know, to penetrate. You know, he seemed to be, you know, to be motivated to change things around. And for me, that's important, because this year he didn't have the numbers he had last year, and it's important to prop this guy up. In my opinion, we need this guy for the future. We cannot
Yes.
burn another talent like that, right? So that was encouraging for me to see that the guy has it, but this play style is just not working for him, and that's fine. But just keep him. You know, do
Yeah.
not ruin his career. The other thing is, okay,
I'm with
all right, so we lose the league. I don't care, honestly. Let's go to the Europa League. Let's have a run there. As long as things get corrected in the summer. I have my doubts they will, but let's see.
Well, Stefano, first, as far as the Muzakitis comment, look, I'm with you there 100%. And I've had to, I've had many conversations, especially with some idiots online, that people, I think people forget that he's 19 years old. He's a
Right.
teenager. And they sit there, oh, this guy, he's not even better than, what was the name that people kept throwing out? He's not even better than Staminich. He's not even
Oh,
better. You're not. I'm like, guys, relax. He's 19. He's in bad form. Chill. You know what I mean? That
exactly.
the
Exactly.
I have found that the negative criticism of Muzakitis in some ways, sure, bad form here and there, but I'd still take a bad form Muzakitis over starting over almost any other midfielder we have. That's my personal
Absolutely.
opinion. But
Absolutely.
anyway, Stefano, before we go ahead and close things up here, I did want to ask you a couple of questions based on your experience and what you hear in the stadium around you so far. And my first question for you is, based on what you've seen, we're 2 points behind first. Balk lost to Volos incredibly yesterday after going up, after leading 1-0. It was hysterical. And so we're 2 points behind. They're behind us in third place. We have the playoffs now coming up. Olympiacos is, of course, further down. Do you think we can win the title? Do you think we will win the title at this point? You know
um,
my answer, but I want to know
yeah,
your
I know,
opinion.
I know. Listen, I'm down for some nice surprises. Like, you know, we start delivering in the games, and it's true. We're only two points down. It could have easily been the other way around, and now we're happy, right? But I'm not seeing enough of a change in the way we play. I don't think we do it. I don't think we do it. I want to be wrong. Let's see.
Okay. Now, looking beyond this season, transfer wise, what would you like to see this summer that we
Ooh,
did not do last summer?
tough one. Spend up the budget a bit so that we don't end up with only projects. I'm okay with projects, right? I'm not a hater, especially with guys like Scipione and Diogo. I think they're more than decent, and they could be great in a squad which includes leaders and guys who can win games and all that, right? I think they're totally fine for that. And even if Scipione yesterday was not great, I saw some things which I did like how he was, um, defensively at least. I felt that he had some moments. So I want to see, like, getting back some players that can make a difference. Let's say that.
And as far as budget, I'm personally
Uh,
expecting at least 6 to 8 signings, but I am assuming
yeah,
you mean
probably.
budget
Yes,
per player. Budget per
yes.
player should be larger, right? Or at the very least, spend on a couple of 1, 2
Right.
good players
This,
first, right?
this,
Okay.
this. That's what
So
I think. Yeah. So
we're
it's
on the
not easy.
same
Huh?
we're on the
It's not
same
easy.
page here, yes. No, it's not, and, unfortunately, I think we're going to have a couple of sales, whether we like it or not. I'm personally expecting that. We
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that there's been interest in certain players,
yeah.
and so we'll see what happens. Would you, while I'm thinking about it, assuming we sell David Birolo, would you welcome back David Carmo, seeing what you've seen and knowing what you know?
Um, you know what? He's probably within our budget, I would say, right? So he's, especially with defenders, unless you, well, okay, it's with everybody, with all positions these days, but you have to pony up to get a good player. At least we know what we can get out of Carmo. He has his
As
weaknesses,
long as
but
he's a
yeah,
starter.
right. Yeah, yeah, I'd be open for that. I'd be open for that. We'll miss Pirola, but it is what it is. You can't keep a guy like that. He's just too good.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, Stefano, thank you so much for joining me.
Awesome,
Guys,
thank you.
yeah, and thank you for giving us some of the insight from the stadium. Hope we can bring you back on so we can hear more of it. It was a pleasure having you on here. I think this is also probably the first time I've chatted with you on,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
Live, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
yeah,
so.
general. It's outside of WhatsApp, we'll say. So,
Yes.
uh, anyway,
Perfect.
um,
All right.
thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Stefano, for joining. This is Trios International by the fans for the fans, and we'll see you all next time. International breaks coming up. The playoffs are coming up. It is going to be tight. It is going to be one of the tightest title races, at least from the start of the playoffs as we see it. So we're going to be here for it. We're going to be here chatting about everything. We have some transfer updates to give you guys in the coming weeks and in the coming Patreon segment. So we'll see you all then and have a great rest of your week.